I thought I pressed it.
We're live.
It is.
Now, an hour of clarity for exhausted people of our nation mired in toxic partisanship. Left versus right, us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today, joined by co-host Tim, the Freedom Variant O'Connor.
What if I change my name to Cash? That Cash Patel guy's been on Fox News a bunch this week, and I really kind of like the name Cash. I might
Tim Cash O'Connor.
Cash, yeah. I might. I'm thinking about
fiat currency O'Connor.
Greenback. We'll go with Greenback.
Yeah.
We'll try that.
Exactly. All right. Yeah. So anyway, got a bunch of stuff. Of course, we got some fake news stuff. We got the hey folks who are I don't know who this is, Facebook user, but thanks for being here. Hey Shelly, thanks for joining us. And so we're gonna talk about the story that kind of went around last week. We didn't get a chance to talk to it because I was out in New Hampshire for a wedding. And so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Liz Cheney. We'll talk about some of the FBI stuff.
Yeah, the FBI guys, the FBI is in good hands. People are defending it all over on CNN. Brian LaRusso's out there.
All right.
That's who
it is. All right, there we go. Yeah, so we know who it was. It's just this Facebook user.
Look, I met Terry. She's pretty sharp, dude. She's nice. Like, and fits right into my anti-incumbency kind of deal, and maybe help see Peter Oberacker get a little revenge for his being a, run-of-the-mill standard duopolis swamp kind of, making money off of his position in the government kind of thing. I don't know. I don't want to make too many false accusations, but. Anyway, I'm sorry. I was trying to take
no worries. So, but yeah, so we'll talk about all those things. So it was my first time ever visiting New Hampshire. And unfortunately, I don't feel like I got much out of the livery. Like my only experience in New Hampshire, besides being in the wedding itself, is going to a Target and seeing so many people not return their carts to the carousel.
Oh man!
And I was like, oh man, this state, they're ungovernable. What are they doing?
It's the freest state in the country, man.
And they're just to not return their carts. It's their moral obligation, Tim.
I'll be honest with you, Kevin. I've always had a problem with our virtuous reaction to people not taking their carts back. Like, hey,
you leave your carts out, don't you?
I'm making a job for somebody, and I'm doing it to stimulate the economy.
Tim, you're degenerate, and you need to return that cart. No one's making you do it, but it's the right thing to do.
Aldi system is the best. Give up a quarter. Somebody's going to take your card in for you for that free quarter. You know it. So that's how I roll.
That's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to go return the cart to the carousel. Tim.
Free market solution is put a quarter in the cart, bro. And then you can leave it and someone will bring it back for you and you paid them a quarter to return your card.
They don't always do that too. I see it in my neighborhood in the city. People just walk off with those cards. That's what happens.
That's a problem because that's theft. Well, I don't like theft.
No, return your carts.
We're doing a good job joking around. We got kind of a serious subject that's going to twist a lot of people up, I think, Kevin.
I know. We got to do
different levels.
Yeah, so I'll read this headline, right? So we'll go to this because it caught my eye because it involves Facebook, it involves abortion stuff, it involves your privacy and all that. And the headline from The Verge is Facebook turns over mother and daughter's chat history to police, resulting in abortion charges, right? And the story kind of goes into the headline and kind of the introduction of that was that it implies that Facebook kind of just handed this stuff over, and that resulted in this anti-choice state going after, a poor mom who needed an abortion. And I kind of, this got my eye for a couple of reasons. One, it's that is a worry a bunch of folks have, are changes post Roe, are they going to encourage states to infringe on people's privacy because they're trying to find out if someone's pregnant and crossing state borders and seeking an abortion. You know, are there going to be this, you know, is there going to be a nightmare of like privacy situation, even for people who aren't seeking abortions? Are women, you know, going to have to face scrutiny from state officials whenever they travel, right? Like that's the worry that the progressives are tossing out there, right?
That's the worry. So let me just turn that phrase. That's the worry that progressive leaders want progressives to be emotionally excited about. And on some level, with the Patriot Act and all the spying that's available and stuff like that, there's a valid worry, and
there is a valid worry. It's not, like I said, like libertarians are kind of worried about this too. Like even if you're pro-life, you're like, this is gonna get a lot of state officials who now have an excuse to dig into your personal private life. And again, here's Facebook turning over these messages.
Out that issue of this is we live in kind of a police state where spying on citizens is kind of like a normal everyday practice. Like that's what I want. It's an area where we could all kind of come together, Kevin. Libertarians, progressives, conservatives, like, hey, private conversations between two people, you know, should you be able to just get a warrant or whatever? I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we'll talk about that part of it first, right? Like, again, should Facebook turn over this stuff? And the answer is, well, for our convenience, they keep a record of all of our chat logs, right? Like it's not just like a Facebook is being shifty thing. It's like users want to have their chat record so they can go back and see what the heck they're talking about thing. Like that is a feature that like they've chosen to stick around with because that's what they want. So the government knows that this is available. It's not in the hands of us individuals. It's in the hands of Facebook. So I can log on my phone and see the chat. I can log on to my Facebook account, my computer, see my chats. And now in so doing, Facebook now has that information. So if the government says, hey, we need these chat logs, Facebook can be compelled by the courts to turn them over. So like that's kind of the first part of the story, like the implication of like, oh, Facebook's just doing this to like, you know, hurt people seeking an abortion. Like, no, like they're kind of compelled to do that. And something like everyone should keep in mind, if you're talking about crimes over Facebook chat, the government can subpoena that information.
Yeah. And what if they're talking about planning a mass shooting? We kind of want that stuff to be turned over on some level, don't we?
Yeah. Well, and again, it's a matter of like, is Facebook proactive about reading those chats? No, not necessarily. But again, if the government finds out that like you were planning like any crime, like a robbery or a shooting or whatever, they can subpoena Facebook to get those. Again, it's like anything else. Like they could do it with text message records too. You know, like those are not private. Like they can ask the phone company for those text message records. Like, and it is what it is, you know. And it's like a, you know, you're living in the panopticon a little bit, like
the panopticon. Whoa!
Throwing out big terms.
Define that word for your. Explain it to me like I'm 5, Kevin.
All right, so like it's this idea. It was actually, I think, who's it? It wasn't Jeremy Bentham. It was the other guy who made this up.
The panopticon.
All right, so the concept is like, imagine a prison that is circular, and you have a tower in the middle of the prison, and that tower is too tall for you as the prisoner to be able to see into it, but they can see into all the prison cells, and you don't know if they're watching you at any given moment, but they could be watching you all the time.
And it feels like they are, right?
Right. And so if you feel like people are watching you, it kind of changes your behavior a little bit.
It does. I think in this day and age, it makes people more emotional.
It might.
On Facebook, I feel like we do our best. A lot of people really do their best to put their most emotional side out there.
Well, hey, you know, that's how you get them likes. Yeah, Patty on Facebook says, Kevin, that's why I stopped talking politics and a few other things in private chats. Ask the FBI agent that watches me. Yeah, it feels like it, right?
What kind of politics are you talking about, Patty?
I know, right? If you weren't saying anything wrong, you'd have nothing to worry about.
Man. Everything's cool. Just don't do anything wrong. Mr.
Yeah, right.
87,000 IRS agents with 5 million rounds of
Yeah,
ammunition.
right.
If you're not cheating on your taxes, guys, you have nothing.
That's why they need to see all of your bank records ever. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
It's just if you're not doing anything wrong, if you're not being a tax cheat, you got nothing to worry about.
You know,
it's fine.
The government has taken so much from us, right? And I know we want to kind of stay on this subject, but they've taken so much from us, so very much. This police state when it comes to our money, okay? It takes charity out of our hands. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like back in the day when I was a contractor, sometimes people would offer to pay me in cash, which I'm not saying I ever accepted, right? But if I had been paid in cash occasionally, I would certainly be able to be freer with my time and be more helpful to my community because I had a pile of cash around. So the government is working hard to take that from everybody. And guys, I'm telling you, I think they're going to go after like baristas and bartenders and waitresses because I'm telling you right now, ain't one of them claiming all the cash they bring in.
I mean, no, that is tough. Like if you're in the service industry, if you're a waiter, you know, and again, I've been there, like you're supposed to claim all of your tips, but like
100%, guys, that's the law.
All of them.
That's
what you have to do, you know, but there's a lot of servers who I don't know if they're fully claiming all their tips, and now the IRS is going to have more power to go after them because, as we know, the IRS tends to go after people who are making less money. Like that is not a disputed fact. They spend a lot of resources going after poor people because they're easier to audit and they have fewer lawyers who are going to tie up all their time.
25% of the population does not buy the statement that you just said. I've been going on.
25% of the population is incorrect.
I know, but I'm telling you that they honestly believe the narrative that the IRS is going to be going after with guns and ammunition, going after like corporate tax cheats. And guys, most corporate, like they don't cheat on their taxes. Like maybe the guys who are getting paid like millions of dollars find some way to cheat on their taxes, but even then mostly they don't. It's the people who exchange cash. You know who else exchanges cash? Babysitters, right? Like the single mom down the street from your house who like takes in a couple kids because she doesn't want to get a full-time job and you give her a couple $100 a week. That is an IRS audit waiting.
You do that in Venmo, then suddenly they're so you do it in Venmo, suddenly it's over $600 in a year. Well, you know,
everybody $5.99. That's the magic number, guys. They won't.
Yeah, and just on this one, we'll read a couple of these out. Ryan Pepper says it's not a tip; it's a tax-free gift. Write that, done deal. Like now, the IRS doesn't believe that though. Like you could say it all you want. Like they're gonna like, say it. Like I know libertarians do that, but like the IRS isn't gonna care if they decide to go after you. They're gonna be like, no, we think that's nonsense, and you should have claimed that as a tip. So now you owe us money. Give us money, or you're going to jail.
Give us it. Give us money, or we're taking everything.
Yeah, we'll take your stuff. We'll just, they'll intercept your bank account. They'll, garnish your wages. They'll take your house, whatever, And
then God forbid you ever need help from them. They'll take their money first before you get the help from them.
Yeah.
It's amazing. They're awesome. Here's one. Here's another one. Stands. Pretty heavy cash business. Guys with veggie stands, girls with veggie stands. Get ready, local farmer. You're about to be on the receiving end of an audit. That's it. And birds aren't real, guys. We all know
birds aren't real. Because, we got that comment from Kurt Bird.
Yeah, birds
government spies.
Man, I built solar fields for the bird drone government spies.
Oh yeah, so you can charge them up. Oh man, wow.
Birds pay well, guys. I'm saying that's all I'm saying. They pay pretty good.
Shell says, no one watches me. I'm boring. No, I mean, again, it's not a matter of like having to watch you for the most part. Like there are kind of two things that happen in like these. There's one, like the kind of key score thing, like the whole Edward Snowden NSA stuff that came out. You're talking to people that fall under the FISA essential which were essentially general warrants. Anytime you're talking to like someone who is like out of the country, they could spy on that, and then they would, pick up certain keywords, and those certain keywords would allow them to look deeper into like what those chats were, in addition to like blanket collecting metadata stuff, right? So it's like if you say something wrong, then they'll go look at you. And not even wrong, like just something that's triggered by their system. And then if the government accuses you of committing a crime, they can ask a judge to get a warrant and then, or, warrant to go and ask like whatever service you're using to get those records.
Data is the new oil, right? Like it's valuable. It can predict people's behavior. It's scary though. The government
I
has
mean,
so much
listen,
access to it.
it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. It's just, again, something to keep in mind is it's not private. So, like
I have got to
going.
go. Hang on. I've got to go delete a lot of Facebook Messenger posts.
So it's forever, Tim. I mean, like, it legit. If you want to like have your chats be private, like there are other services out there that they don't keep a record in their own servers of your chat, and that also means that, like, once your conversation happens, it's gone. You can't go look it up again. But like, if that's what you want to do,
like that,
yeah. But yeah, so there are a number of messaging services that will do that sort of thing. So, like, literally, if the government says, "Hey, can you give us a chat records between Kevin and Tim on these dates?" the company would be like, "Nope, that doesn't exist. You can get a warrant to get it from their phones if you want, but we don't have that."
That does not exist. We have no idea.
Yeah, full end-to-end encryption. Well, go ahead.
Well, did we go down the entire wormhole? I know we went off on the libertarian part of it, the data access, but the sensationalized headline, I think, is
so
talk about too.
I started hearing a little bit more about, like, this isn't the full story on TikTok, and I looked into it a little bit more, and it's a bit messier. Like, again, the original story doesn't mention, like, hey, that woman who got an abortion, she ended up getting, like, buying pills for an abortion that were meant for, like, really, like, early on in the pregnancy process, but she was actually 28 weeks pregnant. They consider, like, post 25 weeks is viable. She was 28 weeks pregnant. The law was 20 weeks in Nebraska. Like, that's a post Roe thing too. Like, they
have an exception to the life of the mother clause.
Yeah, and that was not the case in this situation. And it's not just that, like, she tried to induce an abortion herself by getting some abortion medications, like just a couple different drugs, abortifacients. A couple different drugs that can cause abortion, usually used earlier in the process. It's also, again, she got those under false pretenses, and then on top of that, the fetus was burned and then buried. And so, again, that's not how you're supposed to do things.
That remorse says they knew they committed a crime,
Yeah, and then, like, they ended up like kind of pleading in that crime too. So again, it's not as simple as, like, Facebook is the bad guy just, like, turning stuff over. It's also not as simple as Nebraska has backwards abortion laws. Because again,
we can agree the government is the bad guy.
I don't know. The government's always the bad guy, but, like, in this case, like, it's not great. But also, like, I kind of get one of those things, like, after 25 weeks, that baby's actually kind of viable. Like, that's that starts to cross that territory. Like, that starts to become an individual.
I want
and again, this wasn't a life of the mother thing, so, like, which is different. Like, it's different when you're having a late-term abortion and it's a life-saving procedure type of thing. But
I want an uncomfortable societal agreement as to when life begins, where everybody kind of gives a little bit, and we all just say, you know what, that's that. I know, down with the patriarchy, guys. I get it, but that's what I want. I think that would be a better path forward for our kids, and that's it. That's what I think. I want this uncomfortable societal agreement. That's it. That's what I want. It's simple, man. Can we just make a freaking agreement without, like, all this other bullshit, without them preserving issues and beating us over the head with it and making us fight, and then blue team is going to save you, red team is going to save you. I'm so tired of that, man. I'm tired.
I don't think it's that simple. I think it's
yeah.
I mean, like, you got to actually work through, some stuff.
That's an awful joke.
Says, I don't know. In 50 years, some fetuses aren't viable. That's right.
An awful joke, but I love it, man.
Yeah. And Michelle says, my niece was born at, I think, 26 weeks. Yeah, like, they're babies that are born that
survived that after that.
Yeah. And again, so, like, that to me, it's like, I don't fully know what the situation was, but it's a little bit messy than a bunch of my friends. I know, like, some of my progressive friends listen to the show on occasion. I'm like, This one is, this one's a little messy. Shelley says, so if they did the cremation burial and they aren't licensed morticians, how is that possible? I mean, I don't know. They did it on their, they were not successful in cremating the body, which is kind of what brought attention to them.
Yeah. Patty points out women do in fact die from not having an access where they have to go to the government and get permission for an abortion when they're in medical danger. Unequivocally, any kind of medical danger would be exempt from my uncomfortable agreement, right? Like,
it's a big case she mentioned is in Ireland. It's a big thing over there. Like a lot of them would be like, okay, like we've got to figure out a way to get to UK or France because the abortion laws are so restrictive over there. When there was legitimate danger, like there's just
they had laws that required breeding. Without that, there may not be the freedom variant. So thank you, restrictive Irish laws.
Worked out for you then.
Church. I mean, it's just a different take on it. That's all.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I thought this is appropriate for our day when we usually do fake news.
It's perfect for us to talk about because it can get everyone mad. But if we just sit and have this conversation, maybe we get to where that agreement is just a few people closer, right? Like we just say, yeah. But there is an element of sadness here. Young girls getting pregnant, they use birth control, kids. Hello,
that's part of it. And legalize it over the counter.
Yeah,
I'm still in favor of that. That's what I talked about after I talked about the hearing aid thing on Wednesday.
Yeah, but that's kind of big news. Let's. I don't know if these guys. Maybe these guys don't get a chance to listen on Wednesday, but being able to buy hearing aids over the counter, there was never a reason to not be able to buy them over the counter. There was
Tim, of course there is. You can make them more expensive if they're more restricted. There's a reason. It might not be a good reason, but
they're incredibly more profitable in an entirely controlled environment for people that make them and sell them. That's a good point. I didn't think about it like that. Oh wait,
try to be more considerate.
yeah. I mean, so that's a step in the right direction. We get more reforms like this. And guys, I'm a guy that's actually losing my hearing. I'm going to have to get hearing aids at some point. It's handy. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
But
it's a nice thing. Yeah. But you can get them. The prices are probably going to go down quick. All these companies are good to go. As soon as it happens in October is when the official date is. You're going to see all sorts of stuff like hit the market. And it's going to be like a miracle for a ton of people. Again, people who either don't feel like the hearing loss is severe enough to go and see a doctor about it. And I have relatives like that. And I could just be like, all right, well, let's go pick up one of these, like $200 ones or something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, that's there's so many areas of the world where we could further advance our standard of living through competition, right?
Yeah.
Competitive markets can do so much. And a lot of people bash capitalism. They're not bashing capitalism. They're bashing a semi-fascist system that the government and really rich people have created. That's not free market. Regulations, guys. Every regulation that controls baby formula, that controls hearing aids, guys. Like I'm a little skeptical about needing to go to an eye doctor for contact lenses. Like I don't buy this medical device issue.
Patty says I bought reading glasses at the local Family Dollar for $10.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it is still a thing too. Like even though like the glasses thing, right? So like kind of two comments to that. Like one is that I remember seeing that meme going around that was like, I can't believe I have to pay money to be able to see, by buying my expensive glasses. And they're like, you mean capitalism is a miracle to the nearly blind by making sight accessible at a relatively low price? Yeah.
Well, if it was pure capitalism, you'd be able to buy tiny pieces of plastic to insert in your eye that correct your vision at a price that you could try 15 different kinds without even going to a doctor. because there's no way that these things are expensive, right? It's only because they're controlled by the medical regulations.
So, I mean, like the contacts specifically, like, they've gone down. Like it still does require, like, you need to make sure it's not going to like chip apart or have toxins in it, right? Like you have some quality control, and that's
certification, private.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so someone
ISO
ought to
9001 would take care of that.
certify that, right?
Yeah,
but it doesn't have to be the state.
Right.
But the other thing is, like, yeah, that technology to like do your own eye exams like exists, right? Like it's funny because like I don't have a prescription for glasses. So if I want to do that, I have to go to an eye doctor and get a prescription and get my eyes checked out. But my wife, who does have a prescription for glasses, can go on certain sites, get her eyes rechecked, and with that, order new glasses
every single time.
yeah, but like, so she can do that.
Yeah.
You know, and they're bashing cronyism, and
I call it fascism. It's creeping incremental fascism with benevolent overtones, but it's still fascism.
But yeah, Ryan, like Ryan's saying, you know, I'll go to an eye doctor. I believe I need to go every year and order a new prescription. I know if I can see. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You can, if you already have prescription, you can go online and retest to confirm whether or not that subscription is still valid and effective, and order cheap glasses for like $20. Right. Whereas if you go to some of the other places, you know, where they have the actual eye doctors, the glasses are a bit expensive. You just got to know your prescription. You don't necessarily need to buy the glasses there. Yeah, guys, I probably need glasses. I can't read like signs like, 50 yards away. So it's probably about time I
get your eyes checked, get some glasses, get on that system. And guys, look, under capitalism, you'll be able to buy cheap glasses, and yet you will still be able to buy Ferrari glasses. That will be your choice, right?
You can do whatever you want.
You can do it that way. Your glasses can be a status symbol, or your glasses can be functional, and both, of course.
Yeah, and listen, in socialist countries in the Soviet Union, like you couldn't get glasses. They
don't even let them wear. They don't even have glasses in China.
I think they have them in China. China's like weirdly, they're more like fascist than communist at this point.
Yeah. This actually is not a good point. That the insurance companies control what can get paid for when you go get your prescriptions. So like you can't get money from your insurance company for contact lenses, at least not without a fight. And what I do, I go in and the doctor tries to get me to take a pair of glasses, and it's like, I can't wear glasses because I work outside all day and I sweat. So I can't see why would I put something on my face that I can't see through and water drips on it all day long? That would be stupid. It is stupid. And I've tried them and I hate
sunglasses.
So I only wear contact lenses. That's it. And so it's always a fight. I always have to fight with the sales lady. I got to argue with the doctor. I got to explain to him, I am not buying glasses from you. Okay. I want one contact that fixes my vision in my right eye. And that's all I want. And then they're like, that's not how any of this works. And I'll be like, just give me my prescription. I'm out of here. Clowns. It's a constant, just the government interference in my life and the empowerment of a medical system that doesn't serve me just drives me crazy, Kevin. It's an injustice. I have to find something to rant about. And that's it right there. Ryan knows what I'm talking about. He knows.
All right, man. I have to take your word for it. I haven't.
You'll see, Kevin. You'll see when they try to hook you on glasses. You'll see. And you want contacts. It's like it's a nightmare. It's just a nightmare.
So I'm not in a hurry because my eyes are now perfectly attuned to staring at a computer screen and a foot and a half from my face now. It's just that now I can't see stuff far away. They've adjusted.
We're a little self-absorbed. You don't need to see that stuff far away.
Yeah, it's good for that. It's good for reading this stuff here. It's good for reading comments on the show. But
yeah. So guys, it's time. I don't want to underplay the seriousness of our original conversation, but let's talk about how the FBI, first of all, it's just been a great opportunity for libertarians like Spike Cohen to just get out there and repeat some words some phrases and ideas that Ron Paul put out there, that the FBI looks like this agency that's like a train wreck and spying on everybody. But guys, there are hardy defenders out there of the FBI. And guys, none other than Peter Strzok spent, that guy that, was whatever, anti-Trump guy that basically got caught with his girlfriend plotting to, exaggerate evidence against Donald Trump. And look, there's evidence that Donald Trump broke some laws. Okay. It's like, that's, I get it. But the FBI is in good hands with guys like Peter Strzok out there defending them. I just think they're going to be fine. We're not going to be able to ban them now. What do you think? Should we ban the FBI, Kevin?
I mean, yes. Not specifically because of the Trump thing, which
right.
I think
that's a good point too, right? Like, you guys kind of hate the FBI now because they're messing with Trump. We've kind of not liked the FBI for a long time because they do really bad shit.
Yeah, between harassing, Americans who are doing nothing wrong and them doing their own no-knock raids and them going after, law-abiding citizens and going after, all sorts of
kids,
marginalized folks.
They're confidential informants and people that they manipulate into doing bad things. And then
listen, like just seeing some of the stuff that came out, the whole like Michigan Governor Whitmer kidnapping case it's like what, like it's just the FBI drove the whole thing.
They did. Again, they've done it. They wanted that narrative. Kevin, I'm afraid that the FBI has been politicized. I really am.
They might have been. I mean, it kind of always has been. It's always been a thing. I mean, they told Martin Luther King Jr. to kill himself. Like that's a political act. They didn't like the guy. They didn't like his politics. It's always kind of been a thing. And that, like, again, that's why, like, when people are like abolish the FBI, I'm like, yeah, cool, but like for real though, not just because like he's going after your person and then you'll fall back on that and you just want the FBI to have gone after Hillary Clinton more. Like,
I do want them to have gone after Hillary Clinton. I really do.
I mean, like, yeah, like I
do. I hate
she
her.
Also probably committed crimes, and any normal person who wasn't Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump would have gone to jail for that. Like, for destroying evidence, they would have slapped an obstruction of justice charge on top of like Espionage Act stuff, and that person would have been thrown in a hole, folk.
Right in the cage, right in the panopticon.
So, like, it's exactly. And again, Donald Trump is only having the FBI raid his house because he's worse at like committing crimes than Hillary Clinton.
He had the nuclear codes, Kevin.
Maybe
he could have used those codes to call up a nuclear bomb strike on somebody that he didn't like.
Yeah,
I think that's myth.
That is probably not true.
That is probably not. He declassified the nuclear codes and then took them to his house.
I mean, yeah, like it's a goofy thing for him to be like, oh yeah, like if I took it out of the White House, it's declassified, because that's just a blanket. No, that's not how that works, man. Like
it is how it works. Like Bush got to keep records they declassified and took. This is a real thing. This is not the first time it's happened.
The thing is, like, A, they actually declassified stuff. B, when they did get subpoenaed, they did have to turn stuff back over, and then they did do that, and they came to a settlement on what was or wasn't going to get turned over. The thing that Trump is getting in trouble for is that he and his lawyers said they turned over everything that the FBI asked for, and then didn't actually turn over everything the FBI asked for.
Well, then
said that they turned over. So lying to the FBI, they don't like that.
That's an obstruction charge.
I mean, you shouldn't talk to them because
put the affidavit out there, guys. Declassify the affidavit, and then we can go from there. We can have an argument.
Well, I mean, they did put out the warrant, like, but it's not specific, right? It's like
I don't buy any. You can't read a word of it.
Well, no, you can read it. It's just it's not specific, right? Like, we took one box related to this thing. We took one box of miscellaneous, so like they
miscellaneous. Did you say Melania's or miscellaneous? I'm not sure.
That too, just describe a few extra things.
The typical FBI guys at a protest in their Bermuda shorts and short hair, all dressed up in Melania Trump's outfits. It's pretty.
That's how you'll know.
Made me laugh. pretty hard.
But listen, I'm not worried about like him like having the nuclear codes per se. Like those are changed. Like maybe some stuff, but like I don't remember who said this. I'm kind of taking this line from someone else, but like
look,
I feel like he mostly like wanted to have like cool stuff that he could like frame and put up on the wall and like brag about.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it
look,
kind of seems like his thing, and he just wanted to keep it because he felt like he should be able to keep it, but that's not how the records work. And yeah, if it had just been less sloppy about stuff, he'd probably be in less trouble, and he probably still won't actually be in trouble.
You can't not be sloppy and take on the deep state. You got to be brash. You got to be bold, man. Like that's it. And look, if we have a federal freaking government that doesn't change the nuclear codes when they change the president, there's a bigger freaking problem going on. Like, I don't know, you fire the wrong guy at your place of work and you change all the locks on the building. Like, that's just common sense shit, man. Come on,
so, yeah, right. It's if there's any actual danger because they changed, that says more about the Biden administration than it does about Trump.
Yeah.
You got to change that stuff.
Oh man. So Peter Strzok wants everyone to know though that the FBI is an honorable organization with a legacy of serving the American people with things like Fast and Furious and let's see.
Wait, did they actually drop like, yeah, we did good work like Fast and Furious?
No.
Okay,
I'm
good.
just no. It's just that's what I when I listen to these guys, that's what my brain does is it fills in the rest of the sentences. Like at Ruby Ridge, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of like
the surveillance of Muslim Americans who, assuming we're not doing anything wrong. The agent provocateur stuff, the harassment of like apparently there is a thing where they're harassing a bunch of Chinese Americans, accusing them of spies too, and they're like, bro, I'm just trying to like live my life. Go look at who's the member of Congress's name who was dating the spy.
Eric Swalwell.
Was that what it was? Yeah.
I hate that guy. It's Eric Swalwell was dating the Chinese spy. He was stepping out on his wife. And he's the guy that is always saying something along the lines of, yeah, go ahead and fight the U.S. government. We'll run you over with tanks. It's like, wow, dickhead. Like
it's a little on the nose there.
He's such an authoritarian POS.
Now he threatened to like nuke people, right? Like that was his deal. Was he the one who did that?
What's that?
He's like, you don't need guns because we have nukes.
That's him. That's him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I was downplaying it a little bit, but he was just paraphrasing Joe Biden. So it's no big deal. It's no big deal.
Something like that. They actually pulled out the tank line like that. That would make it to our fake news segment. But
yeah. So good news for the Republicans, Kevin.
Is it?
Well,
is it Tim?
Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is not going to be whatever she was before anymore.
Member of Congress.
Right.
She still is one.
Right. For a couple months. It's not. So she's out, though. She lost her primary to a Trump supporting lawyer who, God, it's a funny thing about mainstream news, right? Like, I can't really find the lawyer that beat Liz Cheney's name without
Harriet Hageman.
What is it?
Harriet Hageman.
Harriet Tubman?
Hageman? I think it's Hageman. So I thought I heard it. But that's who it is. Who beats Liz Cheney. And all right. So here's my thought on the Liz Cheney thing. Again, there's never a person who deserved to lose their seat more. Just absolute monstrous statist.
She is, man. She's a big government Republican.
Yeah, but I'm not exactly thrilled about who replacement's going to be. Not that it matters much because I'm not in Wyoming and Congress like votes in lockstep anyway.
Right.
But also, I don't like. I thought she was right. I think she's right about the Trump stuff for the most part. Like, I think that's why she lost because she spoke out against Trump. I think that's the same reason Justin Amash lost. I think it's the same reason Peter Meyer lost. Out in Michigan. And
you're thinking the Trump fandom has carried these other people to victory, not Liz Cheney's absolutely horrible participation in what I would call the deep state. I don't know.
I don't think that's it. Again,
I'd
because
like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I know a lot of people want to just dismiss Trump supporters. Which, look, I get it. Okay, I get it. But I think that I want to give Trump support. I always want to give Trump supporters credit because one of the things that they like about Trump, they all admit that he's kind of a psychopath, right? That but they all see this problem with government corruption that libertarians see something similar to. But then they go like Trump's going to be the guy that saves us, and I'm like, just another symptom of the problem. And so I don't dismiss Trump supporters the way that I don't know other people do. I just don't. I think that they're out there. I think a lot of them are thoughtful and they're emotional. I want people to be
there's a
less
handful
emotional.
are, but like again, both in my personal experience and like seeing how people talk about the campaigns and like how Justin Amash talked about, how Peter Meyer talked about, again, like that guy's campaign, who's the dude who actually replaced Justin Amash. He was running against a diehard Trump supporter, dude. Trump, was supporting that guy, and like Peter Meyer got roasted because he voted for the second impeachment because he thought that like Donald Trump had abused his power and deserved to be impeached because of that. And I think he was right on that. Like
Wait, what did he do to abuse his power
in the whole January 6th thing?
Yeah.
Well, all right, so we're gonna rehash this whole thing. All right, cool. So great. So yeah, I mean, in terms of like how did he abuse his power, he tried to intervene in the state of Georgia's elections. He called up the Secretary of State, said, "Go find the votes." That's something that there actually is I think a grand jury panel forming right now that Rudy Giuliani got called into for that one. And that was out by then. He had taken a number of other measures that went well beyond any good faith look at trying to understand whether or not there's a fair counting of votes. He pressured people within the Department of Justice to retain power. He pressured people within his cabinet. He pressured Mike Pence to try to stop the floor vote. And then, again, there's the whole January 6th thing itself, in which he may have likely known that there were people armed and encouraged them to go. Again, that kind of gets a bit fuzzy, but it's really all of the other stuff leading up to that. It's especially the thing in Georgia, the go find the votes. It's the pressure.
So the go find the votes thing to you is damnable. Like that's a thing that you feel there's a big. I don't think that people buy that one. And
I don't think they buy. I mean, I'm gonna be a bit. I think they don't want to buy it because they like Trump. Sorry, like that's what it is. Like to me,
I don't
like
think
I look at that stuff
kind of
like
dialogue, like that what he said there should be a crime when we know that these jokers and these clowns are exchanging plain loads of money. And so I know it's a tit for tat and this argumentation thing. And I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this is where people get to where we don't even know what's real. Like that statement, when I heard it in context, didn't really like it. It sounded
Tim,
like
so like that's how it's. We do know some stuff is real though. Like
after midnight that night, can't just go find the votes that are there. Like it just didn't sound that bad to me. But I get that they're in the political sphere that there could be the argument that you're making, and I'm certainly not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying people have a hard time taking that seriously, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they love Trump. I have
people, partisans on both the Democrat and Republican side do it. They don't want to believe that their own tribe, that their own guy or woman, because they want to believe in stuff about Hillary Clinton either. Like, oh, this is also a witch hunt about her when she was under investigation. All the nasty accusations about her, and eventually it's just they put up a wall and they say, oh, she could do nothing wrong. She's our queen, whatever. It's like I can't get behind that. Like I can see like where partisans like go wrong and feel like they are above the law and start acting in ways that are ranging from inappropriate to borderline tyrannical, or at least attempted tyranny. And I think that's what Donald Trump tried to do.
Yeah, believe me, Trump has contributed to the increasing tyranny in our society. Like I'm not going to argue that. Okay, and we can see it like this. Every time we turn around, it's this tit for tat. We need a stronger person to save us from those guys that we have now demonized, that we have now made into a caricature of a human being that we think, and I don't find that human beings, even my Democrat friends, I try not to make them into caricatures, where all of their features are exaggerated, and I try to just give everybody the benefit of the doubt. So that's where, like, when I get to that Georgia thing, I get where people are coming from on it, but I also just it's not because I support Trump. I'm just like, doesn't sound like that big a deal to me.
Yeah, I don't know. That's again, that's kind of part of there's a bunch of stuff up there. It's not necessarily just the January 6th stuff,
right?
Which I think is murky, but it's the stuff leading up to it. It's his various attempts at trying to keep power in illegitimate ways, in which, like, his own staff, his own counsel, like, no, Mr. President, that's illegal. You lost. Sorry, and that's too far. And again, if anyone else are doing that, if it were a different party doing that, I think Republicans would, like, rightfully be apoplectic over it. And again, it's not to narrow everyone down. Like, not everyone's voting on just the Trump issue, but, like, I gotta tell you, when I ran for Congress, I had so many people tell me, like, they said, "Hey, I'm a single issue voter. How do you feel about Trump?" And I'm like, I'm a libertarian, so I'm supporting, Jo Jorgensen. They're like, "Well, okay, I can't support you then." I'm like,
okay. I think that's a good point, right?
And it happened like a lot. And actually, it happened with Andrew Hollister's race for city council in 2017 too. Same thing.
Yeah.
Does Andrew Hollister support Trump? I'm like, ma'am, he's running for city council. You didn't answer my question. You hate Trump. And I'm like, what? He's running for city council. What are you talking about?
That we have our finger on the pulse of that, man. But I've got to tell you that I've been experimenting with asking libertarians what are your kitchen table issues? What are you going to sell people on the Libertarian Party about? And I think that this conversation dovetails nicely. Like, people want that emotional boot kicking them in the brain all the time. That's a reality, and I'm afraid we're never going to find an answer to it. I know that we're more correct. I know that the people that are participating with us are more thoughtful. I get that, and they see that's these philosophical principles that the world should try to stand on, but that's not enough, right? Because it doesn't appeal to bread and butter issues, kitchen table issues. So I don't know.
And so, well, all right. So two things, and I want to get to Ryan's comment here too.
Yeah.
But just so like to kind of play it fair, Democrats would kind of play the same game with me too. Like, they'd be like, "Do you support Trump?" I'm like, I'm running as a libertarian. I support the third party candidate, Jo Jorgensen. They're like, "That's basically supporting Trump. I can't support you." I'm like, can we talk about any issue related to Rochester, please?
Right. I have great solutions for Rochester.
Yeah, I'd have my pitch, in different places. I talk about, like, a couple of different things. I talk about education. I'm like, hey, we can introduce more choice in the education system. Here's how we could do it on a federal level and incentivize states to, like, give your kids in Rochester more choice, and that's what I do. And that seemed to be a really salient issue. And again, I would get people talking, especially, like, if I saw they had kids, I'd get people talking about education, and it worked well, and they were excited. And they're like, yeah, I want more choice in education. And that's interesting that you have, like, a way of doing that from a federal level. And then half the time, like, though, they're still they'd ask me about Trump, like, literally, like, it's broken our politics so much. It's terribly frustrating. And Ryan, libertarians need to focus locally, please. Dude, I agree with you, but again, it's weird. Like, Penfield elections over here, town elections, people are talking about how they're running to oppose Trump
first, and people are responding to that. What? I get it. Yeah,
you're running for Penfield town board, bro. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
How do we desensitize people to that? And I look at Bernie followers and Trump supporters as two seemingly polar opposites, but they are not. Both have many who would follow them into fire if they said to. Wow, right? Like, that's we prop. I want to say, I'm going to call them clowns, right? Like, we prop clowns and jokers up, and we put them on a pedestal, and then we defend them at the very integrity of our soul. And sometimes we get angry, and some of the anger comes from cognitive dissonance, where you're defending someone that has taken an indefensible position and made indefensible acts. Like, when I watched ardent 2A supporters backfill for Trump when he said, we'll take the guns and give them due process later. And it's like, guys, you know what he just said? Like, you know what he just said? Your neighbor can red flag you, and then you've got to pay your lawyer to go back and get your property. Like, that's what he said. And it's worse than that because a stigma comes attached with having your guns yanked out of your house for whatever reason. And he was there, man. And people like they defended that. So that specific instance was a real problem.
Yeah. No, there's a few things, with them again, and like to me, people like Justin Amash like spoke out against it, and I think he got punched. Like the party is like, no, you need to be loyal to the party, and so people do that too. Like Democrats will do that to each other too, right? Listen, Nancy Pelosi will go after the AOC folks who, again, half the time deserve it. Like I'm like, yep, they stink on a bunch of these issues, but then other times they're like, nope, they're just rightfully calling out Joe Biden and his abuse of civil liberties or, foreign interventions or whatever. And they should call them out, and the party's roasting them for it.
I can tell you that being involved in our local politics on the level that I am, and that's with a moderate level of interest, and yet mostly trying to live my life and spread a libertarian message that this town, this county, this small segment of New York State absolutely unequivocally behaves like a swamp. Okay. They don't represent, they make money, they take advantage of their positions, and they lie. All of them lie, and they behave inconsistently. And that's every single town, every single city, every single time a group of people get elected to office, once they get reelected, they start collaborating, man. And they line their pockets, and they line their friends' pockets, and they hey, there's a good contract coming up. Maybe you want to take a look at this, and maybe we get you in. But it goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
And they all profit from like property theft. It's an issue, man. And they are completely unaware of how hypocritical and how dangerous that what they're doing is. They don't care. I posted a lawyer's defense of the $8 property seizure in Michigan, and it was just disgusting. It just disgusting. Oh,
wait, so what was that? Like, it's on TikTok. Is that what we should do?
Yeah,
I didn't end up reading. I was like, oh, I literally have it saved.
Yeah, I posted on my page, on my Facebook page, which will suppress TikTok things. So if you guys are out there and you want to see, he quotes a Suffolk County case to try to bolster the county's position for stealing a property over an $8 mistake. Okay. And then the lawyer has the balls to say that, well, if it's a mistake and we take his property by mistake, he can go to court. And it's like, what the hell? Why should he have to go to court? Why can't we just say it's $8 freaking? That's it. We're not taking his property. They took his property. They sold it. They were going to keep all the money. I think that this guy actually won because the tenets of it were so ridiculous, but they probably found some sort of legal loophole where the T's weren't crossed and the I's weren't dotted. And they're like, oh, we better give this guy's property back. We didn't fill out the right paperwork. I doubt that they admitted that $8 is a disgustingly gratuitous reason to take somebody's property.
No, they'll do it.
Yeah.
I might have somebody to talk about, like not now about this. So I need to give it some more time, but government getting mad at me over some paperwork stuff.
Oh God, we don't even want.
But they love their paperwork. Hey, you don't fill this out. Like, we're serious. We're gonna take some action. I'm like,
yeah,
it's
man.
like, it's not even my stuff. You'd be hurting. It's other people's stuff. Just anyway, it's a little too close to time. Maybe I'll talk about it in a couple months. But
all right. So let me be. I did not have time to chase down any fake news, but I want to be clear. Most of my news is coming from Fox News these last couple of weeks anyway, because like,
no wonder you're defending Trump.
I can't not watch it, man. I can't not watch it.
Watch some CNN. No, actually, don't do that. Don't subject.
I did though. I did. CNN is in the morning, and that gets me up and moving, right? And then Fox at night keeps me awake while I'm trying to play chess a little bit before I go to bed. And I'm just like, these guys are all freaking liars, and they're talking about the same crap over and over again, and they all are twisting the truth. Every single one of them are twisting the truth. It drives me nuts.
Tim, just don't watch the news.
I know. Well, about 8
You're
years
getting
ago,
yourself worked up, man.
I got rid of cable in my house. It's like staying in a hotel. It got cable. So I don't generally watch the news. I generally read news and watch Netflix and, chill.
Yeah. But all right. So I have some fake news stuff though.
All right, cool.
I got a couple of them. All right. So did Nancy Pelosi say that communist China is one of the freest societies in the world?
I feel like I don't think it was recently. I think she said it about 6 years ago. I think this is a true headline.
It is. It's not real. It is fake.
Ugh.
And it was recent too. Is like August 9th. She was on like the Today Show, and is people being a little bit shady? They took stuff out of context. She says the Republic of China is one of the freest countries in the world, by which she meant like the name that Taiwan prefers for itself.
Okay.
So she was talking about her trip to Taiwan and referred to them as the Republic of China because that's how their government refers to themselves. They don't call themselves Taiwan. I mean, like they do, but like their official government name is Republic of China. And so she said that. So, but a bunch of folks, including a bunch of libertarians, like, she's supporting communism. Like, no, that's not really what happened here. She just went to Taiwan to talk about it and thumbed her nose at China for better or worse.
I've been on a kick of seeing communist ideology it coming from both the left and the right, and I've done a couple TikToks on them, and it's just like this. It would be more of a cultural Marxism than actual communism, but there's a lot of this kind of like. So Nancy Pelosi certainly has said commie authoritarian stuff in the past, so like it's always plausible.
There's some truthiness to it, right? Like truthiness, like it seems like it could be true because like
I used the word plausibility instead of truthiness. I guess.
I like that. Like, that's one of the few good things Stephen Colbert did. Truthiness. I like the word truthiness.
Colbert was great, man. At first, he was so much fun, and you could tell he wasn't buying his narrative even then. But now he's become like this ultra woke kind of clown show, and I can't stay up late enough to watch him anyway.
Yeah, I didn't really watch him, but truthiness, that like something that like has the essence of truth. It like feels true. Like it confirms your prior narrative. Truthiness.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
our show is filled with truthiness. Truthiness sounds wholesome, Kevin, whereas plausible, I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, so that's what he made the words. Like he wanted it to like sound like not a bad thing. Like, oh yeah, like we could talk about this stuff, and it's not true because it has truthiness to it.
He used to be hilarious, guys. And to you kids out there, like, I'm sorry what he's become. I'm sorry, he's not funny anymore.
I legitimately wouldn't know. He might be hilarious, but I have not watched him in years.
Yeah, I don't know. The few times that I've watched him, he's been like this mishmash of like wokeness. It's like, and he tries to like still pretend like that he's a conservative. But what he did at first was really pretend really well that he was a conservative, and did a really good job of not quite buying his own hype, and B, making fun of liberals at the same time. And so it was very libertarian back then. I don't know. Now it's not. Yeah. Now it's woke. I don't know. Woke is, I ascribe that to every emotional pile of garbage that the government hands us, I guess.
I mean, suppose, again, I feel like woke is a little bit overused sometimes, but
it is. It is.
I've been told like, oh, you're woke because you believe we should have more immigration. I'm like, I don't know. Does that make me woke? I just think the government shouldn't get in the way. No, you're woke because I believe in civil liberties. All right.
Yeah, where I think that the civil liberties, where the immigration issue gets divisive, is it's another issue that we've never solved the problem, right? Like there is an issue of a welfare state in the United States. There is an issue of people coming here under the refugee status, under sneaking in, and under that they do get government, or it would appear that they get government benefits. And so people legitimately have this concern that they're going to take advantage of the systems that we have in place and not pay taxes. I don't feel
pay taxes. It's you can't have illegal immigration if we just make all the immigrants legal.
What's that?
We can solve the illegal immigration problem now. You won't have any illegal immigrants if you make all the immigrants legal. That's all you got to do. Easy peasy.
Okay. So how do you counter the argument, or how do you talk about the argument that we have an extensive welfare system, that people that will come here will take advantage of that welfare system?
Well, it depends on how much I feel like having a serious argument. I might just abolish the welfare system, then fine.
Say that again. I can't quite hear. I got some noise in the background.
Just abolish the welfare system, then. If I'm not being serious, whatever. Abolish the welfare system.
I think if we wanted to solve people being angry over illegal immigration, we would abolish the welfare system, right?
Yeah. Now, if I wanted to make like a more serious, drawn out argument, I might say like, well, a lot of those folks aren't actually eligible for most forms of benefits, yet they do pay in taxes. And if you're undocumented, usually you're paying taxes often under another social security number, but can't ultimately collect those benefits anyway.
Hang on. I want to point out that I know that for a fact to be a true story. Okay, that they get regular jobs, that they have to use a fake social security number, that they can't file for a tax return, even though they are getting taxed just like everybody else. That's a true story.
Still gets pulled out of their paycheck, so still gets pulled out of their paycheck.
That's a true story. And they're here working, guys. And obviously we need them if we only have like a 5-6% unemployment rate. But
but even the immigrants who are like, lawful permanent residents who are able to access the welfare systems tend to consume that welfare at a much lower rate than American citizens. So if you want to get into the actual numbers of it, like it's, on net, immigrants, like as a whole, illegal, temporary visa and permanent residents, they consume, they are net contributors to the welfare system. It's just a matter of whether or not you think that is legitimate in any way, because only Americans deserve it. And then
I don't think it's persuasive. It's not even that I disagree with you. Okay, I don't think it's persuasive. So when I
even if it's true
about illegal immigrants, I try to talk.
Tim. Even if it's true, even if what I said is true, you don't think you just don't think it's persuasive.
I don't think it's persuasive. No. And that's not a shot or an insult. That goes back to, how do we sell libertarianism, right? How do we make more people understand that there's injustices going on? And I don't think that because there's an emotional conditioning that's already gone on, all right, that we have to persuade people to see our points more than proving our points. And I'm not saying that that's who we want to be, Kevin. I'm not saying that. But this is an issue that we're up against as libertarians, because philosophically we're right. I do like to talk about how immigrants that come here under a visa can automatically become delegitimized persons in our country if they get fired. I think that's bullshit. I think people need to know about that. But I don't know that is any more persuasive than what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it depends, again, it's if you have any empathy for that, like, because I've had those conversations. Well, do you think it's right? Like if you come over here because you get a job and you have a job and you get an apartment and you have your family over here and you're doing great, and then suddenly you lose your job and you need to go find a new one, and then you can get kicked out.
Oh, you don't even. Oftentimes, you don't even get a chance to find a new one.
Exactly. Like, you don't get that chance.
Your visa. Okay.
And and I'll say that to folks, and some folks, like normal folks, you and I, are like, yeah, that ain't right. Like you should have the chance to, like, figure your stuff out, right? But other folks, like, doesn't matter. They shouldn't have been here in the first place. And like those folks, like, I can't talk to them. Like I'm just like, okay, like, man, I have plenty of friends who are doing great stuff in their community who are immigrants, and I play on volleyball teams with them. They have good jobs. They are volunteers. They're great people, and even if they weren't great people, they're still here doing their thing, not hurting anybody. Like, who cares? And say if your position is just they don't deserve to be here because, like, I'm a 5th generation American, so I deserve. Like, you're 5th generation, so you had an ancestor who's an immigrant too. Give me a break.
Okay, the issue, I think one of the issues, and maybe this will help you, maybe it won't, right? But like the issue is this issue of coming here without following the rules, um, and the ability to manipulate people through fear and anger, right? And a little bit of xenophobia, and the issues that have been promised to be solved that have not been solved, um, allow immigrants and illegal immigrants to be whipping posts of a frenzied debate in our society. And we haven't persuaded people to see it differently. Okay. Because the irresponsible progressive who just says, hey, open the borders versus the angry conservative who says, hey, they're taking our fucking jobs and they're milking our welfare system. Both of them don't
man, I'm gonna have to bleep you out so
perfectly.
much, Tim.
What's that?
I'm gonna have to bleep you out so much.
Oh, am I swearing a lot?
Yes.
It's a couple beers. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, no, I know, and again, like, because sometimes I'll get in the just abolish the welfare state thing, and then like I'll say that, and the progressive will be like, oh my goodness, and like I'm not exactly kidding about it, but also like I recognize having other systems in place that where I say like abolish the Department of Education or we should get rid of public school.
I love it.
Not exactly kidding about that. Like I do think that there are better alternatives out there, but also like saying it in such a way I know. And I know there's a strain of libertarians who like to say things in a provocative way, and they feel that that's going to be more effective. I'm generally not that way, because like I'm generally for as open borders as possible. But I know if I say that to most folks, they're just gonna like see all the problems with that, and they're not gonna be able to understand like the human case of like, well, it's probably fine for most people who just come over here, they bring their family, they have a good job, and like don't take welfare, and then they're fine. They're again, unless they're actually xenophobic, and there are some folks like that out there.
Sure.
Most folks are like fine with that. So you get talked to them like, hey, shouldn't it be easier as long as someone comes in, they declare that they're coming in, they're here working, if they lose their job, they have some time to figure stuff out. Like, shouldn't that be the case? Yes. Okay. Well, we don't have that now. Like, we have a system that is Byzantine and expensive and complicated, and it takes years just for people to get permission to stay here legally. And even if you do everything right, it can take decades for you to become a citizen, and you still might get kicked out for almost no reason and lose everything you've built.
Or running afoul of a taxation agency, a bureaucracy. Yeah. Like these are things that are ridiculously oppressive. And the illegal status of people creates a human trafficking possibility that I think is going on, right? And
it's totally a thing, because again, there's the incentive like, hey, we want to come in, but there isn't really a legal way that they can afford to get in, so they just they work with the coyotes to get them across the border and try to establish themselves as much as possible, because even living in the shadows is like better than like where they came from half the time. So they're like, let's find a way to do it. And to me, I'm like, okay, we can get rid of all these bad actors in that process by just like making the process a little bit simpler.
Okay, I think making the process simpler, fair, and more equitable, and make it a meritocracy where the merit is you're coming here and going to work. Like, you're coming here looking for a job. You're a real person. That's it. That's the merit. It doesn't have to be more than that. You'll pay your taxes. You'll pay your rent. That's it. You'll do your best to be a human being here. That's it. That's the merit it needs. We have people that pay thousands and thousands of dollars to try to get here. And like you said, then they get here. Then they still have this tenuous, nebulous legal status. And I think that with all the emotional manipulation going on in society, I don't think that people understand that piece of it. And I don't know how to persuade them to see it. You want to field Michelle's question here?
All right. So Michelle says, they said, well, let's back up. Let's talk about what she said first. Michelle said in a previous comment, why is the LCNY acting like they don't support Larry? And I think they lied in an email. I don't know about that. Then she says, and again, I legit don't know about a lot of this stuff. I have not been paying attention to whatever the Libertarian Party is doing. They said in an email that we lost our line because we did not get enough signatures needed. And as far as I know, we did. Why are they lying? So is LCNY like the official committee name of the Libertarian Party, or what was
I think
left
maybe
of
I'm
it
hoping
now.
she meant to put LPNY because I don't know what the LCNY is.
I think there is like a group calling itself like the Libertarian Committee right now that like isn't actually Big L Libertarian. I've seen some stuff about that, and I don't know if that's
it's
Michelle,
if the communications you're receiving are from the Libertarian Club of New York, that's a pro Zeldin bullshit pile of bullshit. The
Gosh darn it, Tim.
Yeah, the LPNY is the official communication system of the Libertarian Party of New York. There is a Libertarian Club of New York they're shady.
Yeah, but we'll just the ballot line question too, because if you hadn't heard, like the case was lost. I don't know where it stands, if there's other opportunities for appeal. I think there is, as I understood, but the initial case was lost. They did not grant the Larry Sharpe campaign and the other candidates any relief for their issues with getting on the ballot, as they didn't turn in enough signatures. There's just some issues with turning it in. And Larry has a long video explaining what happened. There's some wild stuff that went on with some vendors and some folks that, yeah, it stinks. It's a bad situation. So they fell just a little bit short.
Just a little bit short too, bud. I mean,
really, like just a little bit. And again, unfortunately, what Larry and his team understood to be validly collected signatures by another vendor were not able to be turned in, to add to that total to bring them over the top.
Right.
So again, the Sharpe team understood that they had enough. It's just that there were vendors who had reported how many signatures they had who didn't turn in those signatures, and then that put them short. Which again, they needed 45,000 this year just to
get on the ballot.
Just to get on the ballot.
15,000. Larry met his end of a contract saying, if I get 90,000 votes or 110,000 votes, whatever the number was, he met his end of a contract. The Libertarian Party was supposed to have ballot access for, I think it was 4 years, and they to grant themselves $100 million, imagine that, minimized the Libertarian Party and the Independence Party by invalidating and changing the rules. It's the duopoly doing duopoly, bro.
Yeah. No, that's what it is. Again,
I do think that's the LCNY is a Republican co-opting group. They will try to convince you to vote for Zeldin, which maybe you want to, maybe you don't. It's up to you. But
you think, I'm gonna write in Larry. It's even if he's not on the ballot, and hopefully he does end up being on the ballot, but I'm gonna write in Larry.
Right.
Larry and Andrew.
So the other thing, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I'm just going to throw this out there. I've always been an anti-incumbent guy. Like, I feel like this could be our year to just really say, let's do our best to communicate with our friends that anybody who's already served in office under the COVID regime and under everything else that's happened over the last few years just does not deserve a job. They don't deserve to make money off of us. I don't know. I hope it grows into a movement.
Maybe, I don't know. I would say look at their records, like look at them individually, because there's some folks who did a good job during the whole.
Yeah, the Libertarians that we've elected, Brandon Lyon, Jamie Vanderwalker, Nick DeGrasso, like those guys did a good job. They did. So okay, reelect them. There's like 5 or 6 people. I posted them to the LPNY discussion page. Reelect those 5. After that, the rest of them can pound sand. That's it.
There you go. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna be looking at who did well, who didn't. There's a lot of folks who didn't.
It's voter suppression, and it's graft, right? Next year, these guys get their greedy fingers in a $100 million pile of money. Wow,
where'd that money come from, Tim?
Big business. No, they'll still get money from. Hang on. They'll still get money from big business, and they will get taxpayer donations to their campaigns to the tune of $100 million. $100 million, guys, for New York State elections.
Yep.
As long as you remember
Amazing.
Team Red or Team Blue, or perhaps the endorsement wings of Team Red and Team Blue, the Working Families Party and the Conservative Party, you'll have access to $100 million of government of taxpayer money. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
If you wanted to create a self-supporting system like that where the system feeds on itself, builds power for itself, you would have to look no further than New York State as the prime example in the world. We are the best at that. Maybe California, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. So we got like we have to. I had like other fake news items. So
oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
no, it's fine. I was going to talk about the guy who posted a slice of chorizo and said it was a picture of a star.
Oh, that was a good one. I did see that one, so I would have. Depending on how you phrase it, I might have got that one right. I kind of ran across that one somewhere.
And then I was going to talk about the Cracker Barrel serving plant-based sausage. No, I think that's one of those, like, I think it's way overblown. Most people aren't really that mad about it. It's one of those things, like a handful of people on the internet got mad.
Isn't that kind of the system supporting the system? Like, I don't have to buy your stupid vegan sausage. I don't care. And then they're like, oh, conservatives are mad. They're going to boycott the Cracker Barrel. Nobody has said to me they're going to boycott the Cracker Barrel. I mean, if you're going to boycott Cracker Barrel for selling vegan sausage, please post it in the comments now.
If I'm wrong about that, like that was the direction. I'm like, I don't think anyone's like really all that mad. Like, there's a handful of people like, that's dumb, and like,
I mean,
to different colorful degrees, right? But for the most part, I don't think there's a mass uprising against Cracker Barrel.
Yeah,
they have not upset their base that much by pandering to the woke vegans. Like, no one cares.
I mean, you can still get eggs and ham and all chicken and all that stuff, guys.
Yeah, like, there's still plenty of meat at Cracker Barrel. Like, if that's your thing,
until the government regulates us out of it, and then
until we're eating all the bugs, and they only serve bugs at Cracker Barrel, bugs and vegan burgers. That's it. That's the.
I mean, it is a concern that the government is going to force us all into eating crickets and dandelions because of the World Economic Forum's behavior. But
yeah, I mean, we got to like pre-record an episode of World Economic Forum. I've been researching them. We'll talk about it. You come with your
let's
research,
talk about them. You're going to be like, oh, they're good guys.
We are definitely not starting that now.
We are gonna watch next week when Kevin and I duke it out about the World Economic Forum. I'm the conspiracy theorist that's 18-0. Kevin, what's your record? Just say
if that's how you want to count it, when you're counting your own score.
That's how you do it.
I'm 100 now, Tim. Like I feel like I'm right all the time. I don't know.
I'll bring a list when I'll be like, these are the conspiracies I was right about. And just I'll throw one out there. CDC's latest guidance, Kevin. You see what they did? They stepped right out of the COVID thing. They should have never been in the first place. And I'll have my supporters out there.
Ryan says, "Don't jab me, Kev."
Bro, I appreciate this show. This was fun. We got we had to argue about Trump a little bit, like, I get it. I get it. I get your point. We have to talk more about this persuasion issue, this pop. And I know, like, when you're philosophically pure, you don't need popularity. Or do you?
No. Everyone is wrong except for me. Y'all are dumb. I'm the smartest one here and the only libertarian.
You're the one true libertarian, bro. Oh my God.
I'm kidding. That's gonna be like the grab quote from the show. Like, here's Kevin. Here's what Kevin really thinks he is.
This is who Kevin Wilson is. Like a little snippet. That would be great, actually, if somebody did that to make fun of us and create all sorts of of that tension that they create for the mainstream media, and then people tuned in and watch us and just be like,
yeah, you just got to generate some controversy.
Yeah.
But, all right. Now we should call it a night.
Yeah, we should. I need some sleep. I wasn't even sure. I thought I was going to fall asleep during the show. I made it.
But you made it through. Good job. Everyone's proud of you, Tim.
I did it for you, the audience, and you, Kevin, my co-host.
All right. Have a great night, folks. Take care.